Hey guys, it's Squid. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everybody is doing well today. Oh my goodness, sorry for the late start. I completely forgot that I didn't even set up the stream for this morning. So when I went to look, I was like, oh crap. Oh crap. And then I got sidetracked in somebody else's chat and arguing with them. And yes, I was arguing. I was being argumentative as hell this morning because somebody who he shall remain nameless. No, I was in Spawn's chat because he was talking about the plane crash in Toronto, which was really interesting to me. And then it was like, y'all know me. Y'all know that I live in an aviation household. My mother worked for an airline. I worked for an airline. So you have my flight attendant look today. My very welcome to Squid Airlines. There will be no crashes. We are not FAA certified. But I do live with a current and former aircraft mechanic and inspector. I who has dealt personally with the NTSB. I am also a former avionics tech. So I just call out crap when I see it, and I know this aircraft, the aircraft in DC that crashed. I live with a subject matter expert on those particular aircraft. So I call it out like I see it. Welcome to Squid Airlines. Shut the hell up. Sit down, shut up, and let's get to our destination before you derail me. How is everybody this morning? So I just, I'm friends with people, but we also don't agree on everything. So I had to agree to disagree on a few facts of but the thing is I was texting Mr. Squid when I was when Swan was talking about things, and I'm like, what do you think of this? It's like, tell me what you know about the CRJ 900. And he starts lifting off, and Mr. Squid does not talk much. He is not a chit chat person, which is why I have a YouTube channel, so he doesn't have to listen to me constantly blah blah about shit he doesn't care about. However, when you get him on a subject that he really wants to talk about, like, I don't know, aviation, he will, and I love it because you just get him on a subject that he is interested in, and he starts talking and talking and talking. So I was, so there was a video by TMZ that shows from a rear port side angle, and it looks like he's right side heavy. It's very snowy and the aircraft is white. So it's very snowy and very windy and the aircraft is white. So it's very difficult to see everything. And you can tell it's like CCTV footage. It's not, HD footage. But it looks like it came down right side heavy. Mr. Squid is gear swing qualified. So his first comments were on the type of aircraft and the landing gear. And this is all just from a short video that he saw. He goes, second generation aircraft, mid-sized cabin, very nose heavy. I asked him, how would an aircraft flip over? He goes, depends on aircraft moving. And he didn't know what I was talking about at the time. He goes, could have excess fuel in one wing. One of the elevators could have gotten locked in the downward position, causing constant barriers like a rolling effect. Or they could have trimmed heavy for one side. Were the MLGs already locked, positioned, and down? I showed him the video. He said if they were, that would have caused drag and upfront air under the aircraft. He goes, I don't see a flip. I do see a hard landing. The MLGs were not locked. They collapsed, but it was definitely leaning right side when it was come in. He asked me what I was investigating. It's actually not. Besides the fact that it's nose heavy, and I haven't known. I've only worked with like CRJ 300s and 2 and 300s maybe back in the day. I have to remember, it was a long time ago. But he worked for. He is a subject matter expert in all things CRJ. So so it's yeah. Um okay. Um sorry, I just got a text message. It's just it's nose heavy, and I just have to look I know a loiler that is extremely nose heavy. Yeah. And I have to yeah, I have to look into the safety record of that aircraft. I really haven't paid attention to like aviation in my daily life is every day, but it's not those aircraft. So when I ask questions of Mr. Squid, generally it's about the aircraft that he specifically works with. Um yeah, and the thing about the wings tearing off, I will be right back. 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 We had an FAFO kind of moment. So, I didn't. They should be fixed sometime today. So, she will be. Let me check you out. We were climbing on something that we've been told multiple times not to climb on. Yeah, I know. You just need mama hugs. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. It was a we were doing something that we've been told 100 times not to do. Bye. And we just had to find out the frustrating way. Yep, gravity 1. Gravity 1. And the fact that she's crying like she is, this is an attention cry right now. This is not and this is a scared cry. This is not a yep, gravity's not your friend, baby girl. Yep. So we just do the rundown of like yeah. Yep, and that's kind of it hurts my mama heart to have to do that. But like you can never I've learned that people in life don't listen. Who's that? Oh. Oh, that's all slabbery. People in life don't listen unless they experience it for themselves, and that's kind of where we're at right now. We just have to experience the but I brought your big girl cup. That's your big girl cup. Yeah. Yeah, but it hurts my heart. It hurts my heart to like let her fall and make her own mistakes, but she's not going to understand why I'm telling her not to do something until she makes her own mistakes. And it's just her shirt matches your pictures. And this is a hand-me-down. My cousin has 2 kids, a girl and a boy. And when I went up there and I brought my best friend, when I went back home and I brought my best friend clothes for her baby, because her baby is bigger than her. Her baby is like 9 months old now and fitting into a 1-year cup or 1-year-old clothes. And she, so I brought all of baby Squid stuff up there for my best friend's daughter. And my cousin was like, hey, I have clothes in the basement. You want to go through them? So we got all the 2T. We got all the 2T stuff. Yeah, it does hurt a mama's heart. And that's the thing that's the internal battle that I have every day is letting her make her own mistakes where I know she's not going to get like, she might fall down and get a bruise or two, but she's not going to like, fall out of a tree, like that kind of, we're not going to have broken bones here. So it's, as long as she's like going to fall in a controlled environment, like falling off of her bed. She has a floor bed, so it's like a 6-inch fall. But when I tell her not to jump on the bed and she falls and then she cries, it's like, well, I told you. So it hurts the mama heart. And thank you, Ung Hung Hero, for the $2 super chat. It's just one of those days. My channel should be good by the end of the day. I think I don't know what happened. It didn't actually affect like my channel. Like I didn't get a strike, the 3 strikes you're out. It was just, I couldn't all the videos got demonetized. And it was interesting because the videos that got struck were random. Like it wasn't like someone went down all my live streams and hit it, but they hit things like Captain Kern. They hit 2 of the 4 videos of Captain Kern and I talking about his daughter and just the thing. Like, so it's all original content that they hit. And they hit a couple of my court streams, but like they hit the first Zachary Young one, but not the second. Like, it's just so weird. It's just so weird. Like, it's so bizarre. Oh, I have to return a text real quick. Whew. You all right now? You good? All right. So now that we've done our obligatory 15 minutes of... What, baby? Your nose? We got to do her nails because she scratched her nose today. Yeah. Shani, missus. So you'll be okay, Squid. Baby Squid is a trooper. Mama hugs always make the ouchies go away. Yeah, you can't rub them in bubble wrap. I know. But sometimes I want to. But this is why I'm going to put her in gymnastics. Because she likes to somersault her way down the hallway. Oh my goodness. You want to read? Let's read. All right. Now that we've got our obligatory 15 minutes of, crap, letting people file in. Hello to the 34 people. So with that, the whole channel thing being said, I'm hoping that my channel is going to be fine and everything. I think it will, but it's more reason that like I'm not going to get ad revenue on certain videos for a little while. So see, you just yeah. KK. Mama hugs always make things better. Used to get love hand-me-downs when mine were young. Yeah, it's one of those things of like, it's one of those things of like it. This is a bath toy, but she likes to carry it around the house, and she's never used it in the bathtub. Get it out of your mouth. Okay, go get your pants. Okay, Mama's laughing. Yeah, and the strikers were like it. I don't know. It seemed like a bot, but then it was like an actual person. What happened to it? Oh, it's down there. Okay. Do you want Mama to get it? Okay. Can you say hi? Use your words. Oh, we're not. We're shy. Oh my goodness. Mama's gonna fall out of the chair. Yay. You want that? Okay. All right. And I agree. And I tagged YouTube studio or YouTube creator. Well, I can't remember who I tagged on YouTube, but I tagged somebody. And the battery is dead, baby. The battery is dead. Sorry. Mommy didn't charge it. She wants my iPad to color. Yeah, baby squid rules, and this is her world. I just live in it. So, I'm sorry. If the battery is dead, baby.
No!
I can't help it. She's mad. We haven't quite discovered the concept of if we don't charge a battery, it dies and then you can't use it. So we're still in that not understanding quite yet. Oh, you want to get down? You can get down. Okay.
No.
Okay. We want up, down, up, down, up, down. Have a hug. Oh, sweet baby. Hi, sweet girl. All right. So we are talking about the Ruby Franke lawsuit, and this is more against, in my view so far, Jodi Hildebrandt versus Ruby Franke, because it has a lot to do with the ConneXions Academy or the ConneXions classroom. I'm sorry. This is one of the things that they do on purpose. They put ConneXions. When I think of ConneXions, I think of ConneXions Academy, the online public school that is legit. However, this is not the ConneXions Academy. This is ConneXions classroom. Jodi Hildebrandt's, I believe, Rosalind had her definitions of a cult and or her qualifications to be a cult the last time, and I believe this is a cult. This is just perfectly said. So we left off last time at paragraph 53. Okay, you want down? Okay, bye. Bye. Love you. You go play. All right. So Hildebrandt and Franke transmitted Hildebrandt's dangerous and harmful methodology through ConneXions podcast, with broadcast through ConneXions and episodes in which they hosted either by Hildebrandt or Franke. A description for one podcast mentions truth, and do you notice truth is always capitalized? Reality or distortion 8 times. This reminds me so much of Scientology. If someone is not with you, they're distorted. And you can't talk to them, you have to fix them. And for an area of the country that's very traditional, it makes like a male, your husband, turn into a beta. And like, we're not super traditional around this house. Hey Yoda, how are you? And I'm sorry I couldn't make your live yesterday. If you haven't, go check out Yoda's channel. I got home and then like I ate, and by the time I got done, I looked at the clock and it was like time to do bedtime routine, and I was like, oh damn. It's been a long few days, and I gotta work tonight, so like, ugh, it's even worse. Even though I like working, it'll be nice when it's not a 40-minute drive to help my friend. But the sense of distortion is like, we have to fix them. And if your husband is in distortion, you have to fix him, and he has to join this too. And it's like, you just turned your husband, who may not be an alpha, but will be like a normal, traditional, go to work, take care of his family, into a beta. And it just drives me nuts. What does it take to live in truth? The answer is, it takes a person's willingness to stay in reality and use your choices and choose truth. Truth is always capitalized, even when not appropriate. Like, it's truth. Like, it's this enlightenment. Why is truth reality so uncomfortable that so many people run from it? And I'm kind of going to be snarky when I read this, because this just has snark. Yes. Our language, our dictionary kind of reminds you of a certain side of the aisle, if you know what I mean. Like, you have the same words, but you change the definition. And it waters down the definitions and changes them into what you trademark. Nice. You trademarked truth. That is nice. That's very well done. Sorry. My brain has to recover from that. I've been so like stressed with this move and everything, and like making sure that I set up the house the way I want it. Mr. Squid and I are going to be sharing an office, so I have to figure out how that's gonna work. Even though he just does gaming stuff, it's one of those situations of like, we have to turn this bedroom into a guest bed and 2 workspaces. So it's gonna be fun. Why is truth and reality so uncomfortable that many people run from it? The answer is there's pain in reality. I don't disagree with that. However, their distortion of this word, yes, there is no your truth, my truth, her truth, his truth. It's just the truth. And your opinions, like my opinions. I grew up in a church that some people would consider a cult, and amazingly, to his credit, my minister even said so. Were you a Scientologist? Oh, now next thing you know, I'm going to have the Church of Scientology after me. This is all just a joke to any of my overlords who are watching from any 3-letter agency. Yes, there is only the truth and your opinions. Like, oh. I'll have to look at that. Yeah, I'm doing like I'm being super organized in this house because we're downsizing a little bit. So the joy of like throwing things away and donating things from this house is like making me so happy. But like there's all hardwood or the vinyl plank flooring, whereas this one's all carpet because it's from the 70s. Like it's all that old shag carpet. It's just so I'm organizing the pantry because our pantry right now is just 3 shelves because we rent. It was like hard. I couldn't do what I wanted to do with things because we rent. Like at the end of the day, it's not our house, but this one is. So I'm getting organizers from Dollar Tree and Walmart and like figuring out how I'm going to do stuff to make things look organized, but also be easily accessible. Because if things are easily accessible, I will use everything. Like, I didn't realize that I had a bag of rice sitting on the top shelf of my pantry. It's like, because I threw it up there because there was nowhere else to put it, and I forgot I had it. So we're going to fix problems like that. Plus, the former owner of this house had a dog. And you know, when you rent and you leave a space, you clean it up because, you know, you want your deposit back and all that. Well, when you own a house, it's like, well, it's just your problem now. But I have cleaning hacks that I figured out, like baseboards. I hate baseboards. I even told the owner of the company that I like, my friend who owns a cleaning business, like this baseboard trick, because whenever we deep clean a house and I help him deep clean a house, I hate cleaning baseboards. But I figured out a trick. A magic eraser and a magic eraser and a dryer sheet. Magic eraser gets all the marks and wets it down and gets all the dirt that's like stuck on, and the dryer sheet gets all the dust. Cleaning doors, you know, like panel doors, a dryer sheet just picks up that dust way better than a Swiffer duster, and it's also cheaper because you can get 40 dryer sheets for $1.25 at Dollar Tree. Just saying, like, just saying. We've been in our house for 20 years and I still don't like it. Try to watch what the 2 BDs were talking about last night. It was not nice and false statements were made about you, Alf. I have no idea what they said and I really don't care. Whatever. It's hard to pay attention to people who don't matter. Like, I got more important things to deal with in my life than them. So I just do me. That's why I don't really talk to anybody, because it's like I just do me. And if people don't like me reading public court documents and making opinions having opinions on the way those court documents are written, that's their problem. There's pain, inevitable pain inside reality from things like loss, death, hurt, disappointments, loneliness, anger, greed, and rage. And most people think that they can run from it. They can hide from those things. The truth is, when you attempt to leave reality, you run right into the arms of distortion. And now you really will have pain. Listen to how not to be deceived. Jesus, Pete, man. These people are crazy. Hildebrandt teaches her associates that they do not need to adhere to the law because the law itself can be a distortion. An example of this occurred in a video in which Hildebrandt instructs a woman, and by implication all women and mothers, to violate a father's parental rights. In the video, despite recognizing a father's legal right to be with his child, Hildebrandt instructs this woman to cut her ex-romantic partner off from their child because the law is in distortion. I understand why the law does this, because there's so much deception going on at law, quote unquote. They don't know what the truth is. They don't know who's telling the truth. That's just horrible. That's just a horrible, horrible way to live. That's just a horrible way to live. Another key piece of vernacular for the Enterprise is pain. The Enterprise teaches that pain is the mechanism by which individuals leave distortion and come into the truth. Defendants and the Enterprise fixate on pain in their teachings, including Hildebrandt's methodology, which are communicated through, among other mediums, social media posts, podcasts, and web pages. Defendants and the Enterprise use Hildebrandt's methodology to justify engaging in criminal and tortious behavior against their victims because, as the Enterprise teaches, these actions cause the pain necessary for victims to leave distortion and come into truth. It's one thing to say these things. It's another thing for someone to actually believe this and treat their child like crap because some random woman on the internet says that their child is in distortion and needs to be come into the truth. It's just so it boggles my mind how I will never understand, and I will never understand. It's so bizarre. If anybody can explain that to me or knows a psychologist that would be willing to talk to me on how exactly that happens, but yeah. Another piece of the Enterprise's vernacular is boundaries. Defendants further justify their actions by describing their criminal and tortious actions as boundaries, which victims of the Enterprise are required to respect by an invitation from a member of the Enterprise. For example, Hildebrandt and Franke would invite the minor children to come into truth by providing them with a boundary of following Hildebrandt's methodology, also known as being boundaried. That's so bizarre. Yeah, I just don't. It's one of those things of I don't have time to really watch people who don't matter. I barely have enough time to watch what I want to watch, let alone watch what doesn't. That doesn't matter. And worthless people are. If all you can do is sit back and talk about someone else, your life is worthless. If that's the only way that you can make content, make money, make yourself feel good is to talk crap about other people, bless your pretty little heart. Get a life, go touch grass, feel the sunshine on your face. Yeah. I just don't understand it. So that's why I just do my thing. I don't waste time. I talk about legal issues and what I want to talk about. I don't talk about people's personalities because I don't care. That's why certain people are allowed in here. And I'm sorry that Bruce is butthurt and is banned, but when you don't respect the boundaries of my chat, not to bring up drama and talk about other people, and when you don't respect my boundaries of not emailing me, I want no contact with you, none whatsoever. Then I'm sorry, I have to block you. When you can't respect my boundaries as a human, go away. And people keep telling me he's infatuated with me. I don't know why, and that's just creepy. That's just creepy. For example, Hildebrandt and Franke would invite the minor child to come into truth by providing them with a boundary of following Hildebrandt's methodology, also known as being boundaried. I know I read that, but I just had to read that twice because, like, who treats their children like this? Who does that? Like who does that? Hey, Robert, I hope your doctor's appointment goes well and it's just a routine thing and nothing serious. The consequence of failure to follow a boundary of Hildebrandt and Franke was torture, as demonstrated by the criminal acts of child torture perpetrated by Hildebrandt, Franke, and other members of the enterprise. This destructive scheme is designed to brainwash individuals to recruit them into the enterprise and to fraudulently make significant amounts of money by coercing victims to pay for services and products through connections that cause both significant and ongoing pain and manipulate victims into believing they need additional services and products sold by connections to rehabilitate themselves, thereby increasing the financial gain of the enterprise. Fabricating pathologies to isolate, punish, and manipulate victims into truth. Another fraudulent aspect of the enterprise's scheme is to fabricate pathologies in psychologically healthy individuals to manipulate them into purchasing services and products from connections to cure, quote, these false pathologies to the financial benefit of the enterprise. Yeah, I agree. The last time we went over this was last Tuesday and Rosalind was here. And I'm sorry, I never worked out a time to stream based on moving that I was either going to even do this stream. So I did not work out a time for her to come back and discuss it and read it with me. But I will fix that for next time. I don't know. Their names didn't show up. Nobody's names that I recognized showed up. But it was just weird. I have to go check on the little. Y'all get a drink. We're going to be in for a yet another FAFO moment. Opening a cabinet drawer that she puts her toys in. She closed the cabinet on her finger. Can I see? Oh, there's no damage. You're okay. I know that hurt though, right? I know, baby. Oh boy. We're just in that we have to push she's pushing boundaries. And we have to find out the hard way that things, when we fall, it hurts sometimes. And when I tell you not to do something, we shouldn't do it. Hi. Yes, beautiful. All right, it's the baby squid show. I just live here. No way. No way. Examples of false pathologies that members of the enterprise attach to victims. Oh, reading is hard. Why is it really hard for me today? Include non-existent corn addictions, smexy time addictions, lying addictions, and control addictions. I could name 5 people who have lying and control addictions without even like a second thought. Yeah, we're in that like we're in the pushing boundaries of we don't really listen. Okay, wrong side. We don't really listen when someone tells us no. No. But her favorite word is no, right? Yeah, life lessons hurt sometimes. So I like seeing the evidence in court documents and deciding for myself. So far, I've only seen evidence from one side, and yeah. That's why I just read the court documents, because it's everything that the judge is going to see. It's not anything of what I think behind the scenes or what has happened behind the scenes. It's literally the only thing the judge sees. And that's why I call the BS out on both sides, because none of those documents have been, if you were to put those documents in a class in law school, they would be torn apart. Both sides. One side is obviously more skilled. But one side, but both sides would be torn apart for the attitude laced if you were in law school. Not that I've ever been in law school, but I've known enough lawyers and talked to enough people to know that you don't impart your own opinion into a document. Your document is supposed to be about the law and not your opinion.
No.
So. And you are. She doesn't want to be on my lap, so she's sliding herself back, but she's falling off.
No.
Well, we like don't. We're just having a day. See, it's the I want two things to be true at once. Okay, bye. You gonna get mad at me? No. It's one of those things of like, she wants to be on my lap, but she wants to be on my lap in a way that's not sustainable to be on my lap. She can't lean back like that because she's gonna fall off. This is not the couch where we have, a nice deep seat where she can lean back against a pillow, because she's gonna fall. And that's what we're in the process of figuring out, that we can't always get what we want, because sometimes what we want isn't physically possible. Gravity and physics and all that sciencey stuff. And that's the phase we're in the last 3 weeks. To treat these phantom pathologies, the enterprise requires victims to pay for lengthy and expensive 12-step addiction programs sold by the enterprise, counseling services, labeled life coaching services. Whenever somebody says life coaching, I get hinky on, that's a red flag to me, because that's just someone who has a certification but isn't using that certification in a clinical sense, and there's a question of why. So whenever I see life coaching, I'm like, yeah. Self-help retreats, workshops, classes, and various digital and written materials. Similarly, the enterprise uses false pathologies as rationale to separate individuals from their spouses, families, or other individuals who could otherwise help victims from being lured in and manipulated by the enterprise. The enterprise teaches that any outside individuals who are not members of the enterprise are in distortion and will impede the victim's journey into truth. Sound familiar? Sounds so familiar. So it's good science. Did she use Scientology as a roadmap, an outline of what she wanted to do? Through an interview with NBC News, former patients indicated that a primary focus of the enterprise, specifically for men under Hildebrandt's control, was programming designed to target corn and smexy time addictions, to manipulate victims into purchasing services and products from ConneXions. Hildebrandt diagnosed with victims with an addiction when the victims did not exhibit signs or symptoms of either. She used that her qualification as a licensed therapist to manipulate people. And it's so unethical, and how she never got her license taken away is beyond me. It's so, and these people never went to anybody else, like their doctor, and said, hey, I've been diagnosed with this. Do you think I should be on, medication, or is this therapy working? They never told anybody else. Maybe they were shamed, and shame can be a powerful tool to not talk to anybody else. But it's just weird. Like, it's just weird to me. And you all see that with a bunch of the lawsuits that I read. I'm like, how did someone get themselves into this situation and not see all these red flags? So the current leader of Scientology, his dad, and I were Facebook friends. I ran into him at the grocery store a couple times. We were neighbors. He passed away, unfortunately. He had a YouTube channel, but he's you know, hey, Faster Pastor, how are you? We are just reading up on some cultish behavior. Upon information and belief, Hildebrandt also instructed so-called mental fitness trainers affiliated with and or employed by ConneXions to induce victims into purchasing services and products from ConneXions by falsely diagnosing victims with non-existent mental health disorders. And this is another red flag to me, and where I see a scam written all over it, all over something. When you talk to someone about getting help and they say, well, if you purchase this from me, or if you purchase my version of this, it's like, that's like, that's your first red flag that this might not be accurate and they're just trying to make money. Because when someone says, you have this, I think you should talk to your doctor, or I think you should talk to this person. Not, you should buy my book, or you should buy this, $2,000 course I have that'll lead you into enlightenment. It's that there's like that. There's a couple of fitness trainers online that are like, they talk to you about something else. Squid Hubbard. No, I will never be a cult leader. Never, ever, ever. Nor do I want everybody to think for themselves. I hate the group think mentality. I hate it. And that's why with the situation with the Thunder Cows, I don't like either side, because I see cultish behavior on both sides. Like, I see groupthink behavior on both sides, and I just can't deal with that. Like, I like people who think for themselves. I give you the information. I give you my opinion on the information, and you form your opinion based on however you want to. But make sure it's your opinion and not because someone told you to. I hate groupthink. It's why I do the political streams that I do, breaking down like how the mainstream media sucks, and like how they, you can see the way headlines are written, and in order to get all the facts on a situation, you have to read 4 or 5 articles from both sides of the aisle to figure out what is actually true, because everybody is putting their own opinion into what's supposed to be a factual based argument. And it's back in the day, Walter Cronkite, news was just supposed to give you the facts and you were supposed to form your own opinion. The news was not supposed to give you your opinion. And that's what Fox News and CNN and MSNBC and everybody, they just try to give you their opinion and present it as fact. And it's just not the case. Not the case. I wouldn't doubt that. But yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. 5 former patients disclosed to NBC News that Hildebrandt diagnosed them with addictions, even though none of them exhibited abnormal issues with either. Here's my thing. She was a therapist. She was a licensed therapist, as far as I'm understanding. She was not a psychiatrist. She was not a medical doctor. So she couldn't, or an advanced practice nurse practitioner. She could not diagnose anybody with anything, or a PA. Like, she was not in a position and did not have the clinical authority to diagnose people. That's red flag number like 30. Like, I'm not giving medical advice, but if you ever go to somebody, look at their credentials. Look at their credentials and see if they have, because like a social worker who is a mental health social worker, licensed clinical social worker, can do therapy with you, but they are not diagnosing you with anything. They are treating the diagnoses that you were given by a licensed health professional. Like they're like a psychiatrist can diagnose you and provide medicine. A psychologist, there's like, and just a clinical therapist never diagnoses you with anything. This is not medical advice. This is just personal, like my opinion on what I know from working in a hospital. There are certain people who treat, and there are certain people who diagnose. Like if me as an OTA, if I saw something in a patient where I'm like, I think they have something different than what they've been diagnosed with, or they're exhibiting signs of this, I will type it in my notes and contact their nurse or their doctor and be like, hey, I saw this. I saw this. I saw this. I believe they have something else going on. Can you look at it and provide a diagnosis or no diagnosis? Or, provide an explanation for these symptoms. I can guess at what they have, but then I write and I talk to someone who has the authority to make that diagnosis. Like I don't, as an OTA, I don't go, oh, they have, pain in their hand, they must have carpal tunnel. It's like, no, someone who is licensed by the state to make a diagnosis, and that is outside of my scope of practice. And that's another thing that irks me and is a red flag when people are outside of their scope of practice based on their education, their clinical skills, and their licenses. Like that is a Used Mirlo. Yeah, and I'm not saying all psychiatrists are great people either, but I'm just saying there's a reason that some people treat the diagnosis that other people give. Like some people give diagnoses and some people treat diagnoses. Like a therapist treats a diagnosis that was given by somebody else. The doctor who doesn't treat a mental health disorder but can diagnose one goes, hey, let's refer you to someone who can do behavioral therapy with you. That is, educated in that, not someone who, I just get really like, stay in your lane, stay in your lane. But I guess when you want to make money and you are a manipulative person, you can do stuff like this. And I truly think that both Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt thought they were going to get away with all of this. I will have to look into that. I will definitely have to look into that. JKD Book, can you put that on Discord so I don't forget? Because, me and forgetting stuff happens all the time. The 5 men said that Hildebrandt assigned them into men's counseling groups that focused on corn, sexy time, and lust. These victims later described how they were kicked out of their homes, separated from their families, and prevented from having an intimate relationship with their spouse for months or even years due to Hildebrandt's false diagnoses. Stephanie Jones, a former patient of Hildebrandt, described similar tactics in an interview with ABC News, revealing that most women in Hildebrandt's women's group were separated from their husbands or at least sleeping in separate rooms. I don't understand how you can take relationship advice from someone who's not married and has no children. like you can't, how do you take relationship advice from someone who isn't with anybody and parenting advice from someone who has no children? Like, it's one of those things of like, you think you know how to raise kids until you have kids. And then it's like, oh crap, you didn't, you don't know until you know. The outrageous fees charged by ConneXions to financially benefit the enterprise. The enterprise has become a multi-million-dollar operation by fraudulently luring individuals to the enterprise through ConneXions and then charging them exorbitant amount of money under the threats of pain, abuse, and destruction of one's family if the individuals do not fully invest in ConneXions services and products and the enterprise itself. See, this word right here is another red flag to me. If anybody threatens me, I'm going the opposite direction, whether they like it or not, and I'm going to the authorities if applicable. Like, you don't threaten anyone to get anything that you want. Like, that would be a reason for me to, like, to go to the cops right there. Like, just, you don't threaten people and expect them to all of a sudden agree with you because you threatened them. When you threaten people, it sends them in the other direction. You're not persuading anybody by threatening them. That's where I would be like, I'd be running in the other direction. Ugh. Oh, yeah. ConneXions and Hildebrandt charge the following fees for fraudulent services that financially benefit the enterprise. A, the individual leadership training program, $795, which includes 6 individual sessions with a trainer, a workbook, podcasts, online trainings, and phone support. The team leadership program, $4,995. That's excessive, which includes 6 team sessions, group trainings, podcasts, online trainers, phone call support, and pre and post assessment surveys. The company leadership training, $14,985. And how do you come up with these prices? Which includes 6 team sessions, 6 manager sessions, 6 company-wide sessions, 18 group trainings, podcasts, access to online trainings, phone call support, and pre- and post-assessment surveys. One-on-one training with Jodi, $181 per every 50-minute session with Hildebrandt. Hoy. I was once told that I was terminally ill. I should go to hospice. I never accepted that and refused. And as soon as I could and I understood it, I wanted to live, speak, eat, walk, look better. And diagnoses are ridiculous if the patient's will and character are not taken into account. That's my experience. That does have a lot to do with it. Like, there's some things that obviously aren't in someone's control, but there's a lot of things that, environmental factors can make a huge deal in some issues. Men's and women's teams for $300 per month with a minimum 3-month $900 commitment, which includes meeting with a group of men or women for 90 minutes each week with Hildebrandt moderating the meeting. The 6-week masterclass, $218, which includes digital videos and a physical workbook. The 5-week parenting class. How can you take parenting classes from someone who has no kids? But I understand Ruby Franke did. However, this is mostly Jodi Hildebrandt's work. This is all Jodi Hildebrandt's work, and Ruby Franke got invested in it later, from what I understand of the timeline. The 5-week parenting class, which includes digital videos and a physical workbook. Membership in the Empowering Joy community, $84 per month, which includes a weekly Zoom meeting and access to the ConneXions digital library. And membership in the ConneXions Insiders, which allows users to post video questions to Hildebrandt and or Franke, $84 a month, or $21 for 20 minutes of direct video messaging. Yeah. There's the $1 million question, huh? Like, the $1 million question. Like, meetings. What's done in these so-called meetings? Oh my goodness. Hoy. Oh boy. ConneXions also sold the following fraudulent products online for shipment via U.S. mail, which both furthered the scheme of the enterprise and perpetuated Hildebrandt's methodology. Footnote 1. I believe so. I don't remember specifics. It was a couple years ago, and I tried to put a lot of what happened in that case out of my mind because it was disturbing in so many ways. However, the fact that they were in Utah, I really wouldn't be shocked if they were. Ugh. Addiction, Cycle, and Shame versus Guilt workbook and DVD. Anger, Fear, and Triggers workbook and DVD. Boundaries workbook and DVD. Connections, Culture, Business Empowerment workbook. Control versus Surrender workbook and DVD. Codependency and Caretaking workbook and DVD. See, and some of these sound legit because, like, codependency and caretaking, those two things, in my experience, in my education, codependency is a real thing. Like, it's a real thing. So it sounds legit. And that's the worst part, is it sounds legit. Distraction and Fantasy workbook. Drama workbook and DVD. Empathy, Vulnerability, Validation, and Risk workbook and DVD. Connections Classroom, Connecting Families. Does it sound like she, with really the other facts that we've been presented here, does it sound like she was connecting families or tearing them apart? Faulty Core Beliefs and Denial workbook and DVD. Forgiveness and Humility workbook and DVD. Healthy Sexuality and Connection workbook and DVD. Love versus Lust workbook and DVD. I wonder what's on these. No, part of me wants to know what's on these DVDs, and then part of me is like, no, you want to stay as far away from these DVDs as humanly possible, because I'm sure there's some disturbing content on these DVDs. Parenting, Empowering Children to Become Responsible workbook. You can get Empowering Children to Become Responsible. You can get YouTube videos for free from people who actually have children. YouTube didn't like your comment. I don't know. I didn't see it, so I'm not sure. Perceptions, Motives, and Agendas workbook and DVD. Safety and Recovery workbook and DVD. Footnote 1. Plaintiff anticipates that discovery will reveal that the sale and shipment of these items via U.S. mail systems constituted mail fraud pursuant to 18 U.S. Code Section 1341. Oh, that good old mail fraud. Self-Love and Care. Arming the Next Generation with Weapons of Truth workbook. Connections 202, Parenting, the Long-Lost Guide to Raising Children workbook. And I'm not even sure what that acronym stands for. And I'm not sure. It's one of those things where you're like, you want to know, but you're really not sure you want to know. Like, you just don't want to know. Connections Masterclass workbook. The Connections Classroom Glossary and You Are Not Enough workbook, which invites people to engage the principles of connection, what distortion is, and how to choose the foundational principles of honest, responsible, and humble in order to battle the lie of distortion. The expansive breadth of the enterprise and its significant effect on interstate commerce. Defendants primarily executed the enterprise via the internet, social media, video conferencing, U.S. mail, and other interstate wires. Defendants admit that their enterprise uses wires in interstate and foreign commerce, specifically on the Meet the Founder page of the ConneXions website. Hildebrandt represented the following. Over 100 free podcasts have been produced in 2 years, and there have been over 1 billion plus downloads in 23 different countries, simply by the word of mouth, with the creation of ConneXions Classroom.com. The facilitation of knowledge has never been easier for people to self-educate about these core truths. Oi, oi, oi. Oi, oi, oi. As further evidence of defendants' impact on the interstate and foreign commerce, as of January 19th, 2023, the following hashtags have millions and some billions of views on TikTok alone. ConneXions, nearly 243 million views. Hashtag Jodi Hildebrandt, over 445 million views. Hashtag Ruby Franke, 2.2 billion. Hashtag Moms of Truth, referring to Hildebrandt and Franke's Instagram and Facebook accounts, Moms of Truth, over 188 million. And I'm hoping a lot of those views were like, these people are crazy. I just have to see the crazy in action. I'm really hoping that a lot of these views weren't people actually following this load of bullcrap. Hey, Mary Jane. The August 2023 arrests of Hildebrandt and Franke for torturing Franke's two small children exposed the enterprise as dangerous and dark brainwashing. The true nature of the enterprise's fraudulent scheme was revealed in August of 2023 when one of Franke's small children, whom Hildebrandt and Franke tortured at Hildebrandt's multi-million-dollar southern Utah residence, escaped and sought help from a neighbor. On August 30th of 2023, Franke's 12-year-old son climbed out of a window in Hildebrandt's compound and ran to a neighbor's house. Victim 1 knocked on the door requesting food and water. Victim 1 also requested to be taken to a police station so he could be taken to jail. He made this request because Hildebrandt and Franke had abused and brainwashed him into believing that if he escaped, he would go to jail. The neighbor observed duct tape on Victim 1's wounded ankles and called 911. Upon arrival, law enforcement observed Victim 1's wounds and malnourishment to be severe, and he was transported to a local hospital for treatment. That poor kid. Victim 1 was placed on medical hold due to his deep lacerations from being tied up with rope and from his malnourishment. A treating physician at the St. George Regional Hospital said that if Victim 1 was returned to Hildebrandt or Franke, it may result in death. Franke's 10-year-old daughter, Victim 2, was subsequently found at Hildebrandt's compound. It was immediately clear that, like Victim 1, Victim 2 was extremely malnourished. Victim 2 initially refused medical attention, but after 4 hours finally consented. She was transported to a hospital where medical professionals found her to be extremely malnourished. To facilitate this torture, Hildebrandt and Franke isolated the children from all individuals, including their own father and other siblings, for many months. These poor kids. I hope they are doing well or better. I saw the body cam footage of the room where they were kept, and I just can't. That just makes me sick. It makes me sick as a parent. It makes me sick as just a human. Like, how do you do this to people who are innocent? People who have never, they're children. They're innocent. They don't know better on certain things, like her, little one. Do I think it? I think I get frustrated with the fact that when I tell her no, she doesn't listen or doesn't understand. Yes, but then I sit back and I realize she's 2. She's not old enough to understand the why. She's never experienced the why. So she's not going to understand, which is part of my mama heart hurting with letting her figure out things on her own, because that's how you learn the why, as you experience things. To get upset and that upset, I can never understand getting that upset with a child and to do that. Like, children don't know any better. Adults, y'all are different. Y'all know better. Children don't know any better. It's just, ugh. And the fact that the little girl didn't want medical attention because she thought, like, I don't know. She thought that she was in such the wrong that she deserved that. Like, oh, yeah. Yeah. That's one of the reasons that we're covering this and we're not going back and covering that, because they're related, but like, this was the how. This is the how it happened and not the actual, it's just law enforcement determined, or the children had also been isolated from each other for over a month. Law enforcement determined that Hildebrandt committed felony CA against victims 1 and 2. Law enforcement also determined Franke had to have direct knowledge of the children's intentional abuse, given a YouTube video posted 2 days prior to the arrest, showing Franke in the residence where the abuse occurred. You could actually see the room if you looked at that video, that you could see the staircase, and the room was under the staircase. So like you could see. Oh, yeah. When police arrested Hildebrandt, she continued to deny any wrongdoing and remarkably told the arresting officer that victims 1 and 2 should never be allowed around any other kids. She seriously thinks and I'm sure to this day she thinks she didn't do anything wrong. In other words, per Hildebrandt, her torture of the victims 1 and 2 was justified because she was bringing them into truth. In Hildebrandt's multi-million-dollar compound, first responders found what was described to them as a panic room with a large Fort Knox vault door, in reality, a torture chamber. First responders believed that Franke's children could be trapped in there. On August 30th, 2023, police arrested Hildebrandt and Franke, and prosecutors charged them with 2 counts of felony intentional aggravated child abuse. Later increased to 6 counts of felony aggravated abuse each. By December 18th of 2023, Franke reached a plea agreement with the state in which she pled guilty to 4 counts of felony intentional aggravated. I just can't. Like these people. And I can guarantee you, there goes my ad revenue. Like, I can guarantee you this stream just got demonetized because what I read. So, if y'all enjoy this content and you want to hear this lawsuit, please support my channel by liking, subscribing, sharing it, sending super chats only if you have Starbucks money. No ramen money, no, and don't feel obligated. But this stream just got demonetized. I can tell you that already. Both of my other Ruby Franke videos have also got limited ad suitability. I wonder why. Oy. That's all I can say. Oy. By December 18th of 2023, Franke reached a plea agreement with the state. I hate plea agreements for some things because like you get off easy because you made a plea. Like they're just in which she pled guilty to 4 counts of felony intentional aggravated child abuse. The state dismissed the other 2 charges in exchange for her truthful testimony against Hildebrandt. On December 27th, 2023, Hildebrandt also pled guilty to 4 counts of felony intentional aggravated child abuse, with the state dismissing the other 2. Yeah, they just don't. Well, the thing about it is, it's like they either age restrict it or they literally say like it's limited in ads. Like we can't just put any ad on this. It you can only have, so you don't make, not like you make a lot of money on ad revenue, but like it cuts it by like 75%. So if I were to make $1, now I've only made $0.25 kind of situation. And it's just one of those, like, it sucks because like these aren't my words. It'd be one thing if I was sitting here talking about it, but these are words that are literally written in a court document. And that's where I get upset with it. Because I could see if like I was talking about it, like YouTube would be like, hey, but like I'm literally reading words off a page. Like I believe that Franke got it from Hildebrandt because she started following her lifestyle, but it's Hildebrandt that I want to know where they got it, where she ever thought that this would be a good idea. Oh, thanks, T-Rexy. And like, yeah, my channel didn't get I didn't get struck or anything. That's the thing about mass flaggings. Like they don't, they're not, at least in my experience, they've never said your channel's in trouble. They've just said you can't monetize these videos. So but monetizing some of those videos are what puts, gas in my car, or gets baby squid an extra toy, or a toy that I've been thinking about getting her, but I'm like, do we really want to spend the money on that? This is what's allowing me to do that. So every dollar means a lot to me. So it's one of those things of like, YouTube is fun, but it's also how I help my family pay bills. So, and I really don't think that we would have been able to buy this house if I wasn't doing YouTube, because that is that's a small source of income, but it definitely makes life easier. So, there's that. Huh. In their plea agreements, Hildebrandt and Franke admitted that their actions involved the physical torture, and I even hate saying that word, of victim one. In coercing victim one into the truth, the women confessed that they isolated the child from all other people, electronics, and any entertainment, forced labor on the same child by making him perform physical tasks for hours a day and days at a time, including wall sits, carrying boxes full of books up and down stairs, performing manual labor outside without shoes on and in the intense summer heat. Forced victim one to stay outside day and night to labor without shoes in the direct sunlight and intense summer heat of southern Utah for extended periods and stand in the direct sunlight for several days, resulting in severe sunburns and damage to his skin. Oh, that was brought up on Shizzy's stream? No. Happens to him all the time. Yeah, well, that was a first for me. Like, I've had a couple where when I brought up a ESPN video where I fully expected them to because ESPN, you can't even show like 2 seconds of their stuff without being copyright struck. But even that was like, you just can't monetize it. But this was like 55 videos in less than 10 minutes. So that was the first time that's ever happened to me. And it was just weird that they were the randomest videos. Like, there was a video from last August. Like, it was just one of those random, just talk to chat, not show anything, just talk to chat, back when I had not as much content and I was still figuring out what I wanted this channel to be. And it was like, yeah. YouTube gives you a 1099. So I did my taxes on Sunday, so that was also fun. So if y'all want to if y'all want to contribute to what I have to pay to the government. So yeah, they AdSense, there's a 1099 on there, so basically a contract employee. It's the same as if DoorDash and Uber and Lyft and Uber Eats and all those kind of people. So yep, but I also get to deduct the square footage of my office. So the initial setup of what computer setup and things like that. So I get to deduct, what I use, because I don't really use this computer for anything else other than YouTube, because I'm either on my computer, I'm either looking something up, I'm researching for documents, or I'm streaming or making a video or editing. When I'm not doing YouTube, I try not to sit in front of this computer because it annoys me. I either use my phone or my iPad for personal stuff, or my laptop. So I really don't use, I don't really ever use my computer for anything not YouTube or related to YouTube. I just don't have the time or energy. And when you sit in front of this computer and you're researching and making content and stuff, when you're not making content, it's like working at a restaurant and then eating at that restaurant every night. It's like you don't want to. You get sick of that food. So Now there's another question to ask the dark side of the What the Hail saga. And I do have to check for documents. There were none yesterday, but I don't, I was really busy all day yesterday. And the severe sunburn that he had, I'm sure severe sunburn and then, like duct tape on your wrists and your ankles, did not help your skin at all. Like, I really hope that he doesn't have any scars from that, because that sounds painful. Denied victim 1 adequate water for several of the days he was required to remain in the summer heat, and punished him when he secretly consumed water. Oh, like secretly consumed water so he didn't die? Like, because you can die from dehydration within a matter of days. And denied victim 1 sufficient food, and when given food, he was given very plain meals, e.g. rice and chicken, like someone who's on a diet eats, while others in the house ate regular and more flavorful meals. Franke admitted to kicking victim 1 while he wore boots, holding victim 1's head underwater, and so this is victim 2. So this is, if I were them, I would go back and I'd fix this, because victim 1 was a male, victim 2 was a female. So this paragraph is either talking about the male and misgendered him, or talking about victim 2. Because, see? Okay. Franke admitted to kicking victim 1 while she wore boots, holding victim 1's head underwater, and cutting off oxygen by placing her hands over his nose and mouth. Okay. Or maybe, never mind. Forget I said anything. My reading comprehension skills just needed a second time of reading that to understand it. This right here, cutting off oxygen. Like, who honestly would ever think that's a good idea to do to a child? Like, who would ever think that's a good idea in any sense of the imagination, under any religion? And this is why people have a problem with certain religions, is people hide behind their religions as to why they think this way. It's like, oh my goodness, this makes me want to this makes me want to this makes me think negative thoughts, and hope negative things happen to them in Minecraft. Like, that kind of statement right there, like, just when you admit to doing that, I just can't. And anybody reading, like, thinking, oh, I want to go to Jodi for counseling services, and seeing this stuff, who in their right mind would not report this as like, hey, she's advocating that I do this to my child, and I think that is there's something wrong. Like, that would be a red flag to me. Oh my God, so many red flags. These poor kids. And like, it just can't. Speaking of children, I just need to go make sure that mine is still playing right over here where she was, because she got quiet. And when she gets quiet, it's because she gets into something. I will be back in 30 seconds tops. Y'all get a snack, take a bathroom break, take a mental health break from this, because this is intense. Be right back, guys.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The glass so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night.
Thanks, guys. I had to get her a snack. She was she closed the door to the family room and was just hanging out there. But then the minute I got up, she's like, snack, food. I kind of want to skip this paragraph, but I can't because it's vital to the lawsuit. This horrendous torture is a straightforward implementation of the Enterprise's accepted methodology imposed on hundreds, if not thousands, of victims. Upon information and belief, after multiple escape attempts, Victim 1 finally succeeded. Before Victim 1 escaped, Hildebrandt and Franke admitted to sadistic, intense torture, including regularly binding Victim 1's hands and feet. The child was tied to Franke and to weights. Many times the binding included using 2 sets of handcuffs, one on the child's wrists and one on his ankles. At times, the child was forced to lie on his stomach. Ropes were used to tie the 2 sets of handcuffs together so that his arms and his lower legs were lifted off the ground. The bindings resulted in injuries to Victim 1's wrists and ankles, where the handcuffs cut through the skin and damaged the muscle and tissue. Then the wounds were covered with duct tape. Oh my goodness. Like, that just... Trigger warning, guys. I'm sorry. Hildebrandt and Franke admitted that the actions described above caused severe emotional harm to Victim 1 because they began in May and escalated throughout the summer months. Additionally, Hildebrandt and Franke regularly sought to indoctrinate Victim 1 and convince him that he was evil and possessed. And he needed to willingly be obedient to avoid punishments. And while Hildebrandt and Franke told Victim 1 that these punishments were necessary for him to repent, he also needed to go to jail for his sins. He was also told that everything was done to him were acts of love. I mean, I really hope this kid can... I really hope that this kid is in therapy with an actual therapist who wants to help him and not that he's going to be scarred for his entire life. Like, it's one thing to hear about it on somebody else's channel. It's another thing to read it on your own. Hildebrandt and Franke's torture of Victim 1 represents Hildebrandt's methodology espoused by the Enterprise, implemented to its most fundamental degree. Hildebrandt and Franke admitted to similar offenses against Victim 2. Franke's journal entries reveal that this horrendous criminal behavior was not separated from Hildebrandt's teachings and the Enterprise, but in reality, Hildebrandt's methodology implemented to the highest degree possible. Yeah, she not only did it, she wrote about it. Like she was this savior. Emphasis added unless indicated. I know some of her kids are adults now, and I think a couple of them have spoken out. I can't be for sure. Rosalind knows way more about that than I do. this is another one of those situations where I only pay attention to the legal filings and I don't pay attention to the background or like, like details. That there's just certain things. I just read the legal filings because I just want to know what is said to the court system. Not so much what is Facebook pages and Instagram posts and podcasts and their channels. It's just too much. Hildebrandt doesn't have any kids. Ruby Franke has all the kids. Jodi is not married nor has any children. So taking parenting advice from someone with no children is never a Ugh. If victim 1 wants to emulate the savior, he needs to be 100% obedient with exactness, no wavering, no hiding. These are quotes from her journal entry, or her journals, which if you want to read them in their entirety, multiple channels have talked about them, but I believe it was on her locals. It was a locals exclusive that Megan went over and read. She had to do it on locals because, well, YouTube would not have been a good place to talk about this. No worries. Hildebrandt is the one who this teaching and started ConneXions. Ruby is her business partner, but also is found her. Ruby had a YouTube channel called 8 Passengers back in the day. So it's I told victim 1 he needs God. I invited him to fast and pray. No, you didn't invite him to fast. You starved him. There's a difference between I am fasting right now. I am not eating till noon. However, there is a difference between me as an adult consenting to that and not feeding my child. She just had other half of her banana. You can't invite someone. You withholding food from someone is not inviting them to fast. It is forcing them to fast. Oh my God. The devil doesn't like it when you get your subject to agree to truth. I'm breaking every single one of these freaking things down because this bitch is psycho. Psycho. I let victim 2 know she had hardened her heart. How can a 10-year-old harden her heart? She's 10. She hasn't lived long enough to have no emotions. Sorry. She has not lived long enough. And if she has, it's because of the stuff that these 2 did to her. And we'll do one more day of fasting, i.e. starvation, to invite her to be humble. You can't invite somebody to be humble. That's an internal thing. Victim 2 flips out and begins ranting. Dishonest chance. My mom starves me and calls it fasting. That's not dishonest. That's the truth if I've ever seen it. Right, baby girl? Oppositional force, i.e. pain, is required for growth, development, and maturity. Victims 1 and 2 have never experienced oppositional force. It seems like they have from you. And a child should never... Oh my God. I just can't. Robert James, thank you for the $2 super chat. Banana fund. Hey, Angel. Somebody contributed to your banana fund. She's flipping through pages of my notebook, so she's busy. The notebook that I had bought to put important papers in, so if we ever have a house fire or a hurricane where we have to evacuate, I can just grab this notebook with all the the important docs like the DD-214, the social security cards, the birth certificates, stuff like that. So I can just grab it and go. And she, before I even got the chance to fill it up, she's making it her own. So I'm going to have to find another solution. Hey, Tammy, how are you? Oh, Tamiflu. Oh. Boundaries will show you how much demonic possession a soul has. The more boundaries, the more the soul will reveal itself. Back to sending evil away, articulating truth drives evil away. This is a powerful intervention for the possessed, even if you can start by agreeing to something truthful. Following up on articulating a desire for evil with a demonstration of obedience is powerful. Demonstrating a willingness to follow truth is a pattern to the Savior used in his interactions. It's people hiding behind religion to explain away their awful behavior and that they're evil people. Like, I hate people who hide behind religion to hide their awful personalities. Achoo! I said achoo to her and she goes, achoo! 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 Ah, y'all make me laugh. So, Victim 1 and 2 need natural outcomes, i.e. pain, emphasis in original. One might ask, as I myself have, what if we had taken this slower? Would the children have been on board if we hadn't boundaried them so quickly and clearly? They needed things to get hard fast, intense, shocking change, immediate discomfort. They could have confessed in truth, taking personal responsibility for the discomfort they were causing. They didn't cause anything. You did, crazy woman. A 10-year-old, and I think he was 12 or 13. I can't. It makes me very, very angry at, like, not to tell any people how to be stupid, but if you're going to be stupid, don't write your stupid down. Don't write your stupid down. If you're going to do something stupid, don't write it down. Like, it's like how to not be a how to not give the police evidence 101. Like, Victim 2 would choose to be shot and die rather than to be humble and do what she is told. There is no pain point where she will turn. Oh yeah, this little girl was on her way to meet her maker if her brother didn't escape. Mom to Victim 1, you would rather be uncomfortable, i.e. in pain, than to be obedient. This isn't really about being uncomfortable. This is about adamantly refusing obedience. You would rather be uncomfortable than obedient. Ruby to Victim 1, you cannot manipulate your way out of pain. The only way out of pain is to humble yourself. For the human who is not humble, today this constitutes the vast majority. You may have to get to your breaking point. Victim 1 never would have disclosed his sins had he not a hope that confessing would bring a sense of relief. His motive, because he is not humble, was to feel better. I know, their sentences were not nearly as long as they should have been. Like, not even close. The world we live in today does not support children being uncomfortable, i.e. in pain. And so children are comforted, entertained, and distracted from the need to confess and change. Stripping down a child's world to the basics of beans and rice and hard work would be considered abuse. I got so many opinions on this, and I'm trying to bite my tongue so that I do not get completely yeeted from YouTube. Because right now I am just reading what is in a legal legal document. I am not reading anything that is of my own volition. However, I have opinions that are of my own volition that are not YouTube friendly right now, or baby squid friendly, because they're, yeah. It has been 3 months of consistent boundaries. Yeah, basically consistent torture and putting up with his terrorizing to get victim one confessions out. Who would do this in a real world? I don't know of anyone who would feed their kid in America beans, lentil, and rice and chicken for 3 months straight and refuse all distractions. And this is why Americans are so full of sin and are ready for destruction. This takes that paragraph right there takes something that would be like a positive thing, like not like in a positive sense. This would be like eliminating sugar, not having an iPad or, a phone, or only getting like a couple hours a day of internet time versus sitting in front of a screen all day. In a sane person's world, and I truly believe, in my opinion, these two are not playing with the full deck, if you know what I mean. This is why Americans are so full of sin and ready for destruction. So I get why, like, the original, a sane person's way of a sane person's way of interpreting that. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Just and I'm sorry we've lost like 15 people, because I know this is a difficult topic to hear. So Victim one's body is full of evil, puffy, infection. He won't participate in the responsibility of flushing it out. From May 22nd of 2023 through August 30th of 2023, the time in which Hildebrandt and Franke admitted to the secret torture and abuse of children at Hildebrandt's mansion, they broadcast at least 75 interstate wire communications in the form of podcasts and social media posts from Hildebrandt's compound. The podcast that Hildebrandt and Franke communicated to the public from May 2023 through August of 2023 constitute nearly 10% of the ConneXions podcasts made available to the public. In these interstate wire communications, Hildebrandt and Franke represent that by following them, an individual will come into truth by learning to be honest, humble, and responsible. I get wanting your kids to be honest, humble, and responsible, but there are thousands of better ways to go about that. I don't know, by acting like a responsible parent and giving them a good mentor and, person to watch. How we act is how they act. So if we act responsible, humble, and honest, it translates to them because they see us every day. Right, baby girl? She just looked at me like, I'm busy. Hildebrandt, not to give parenting advice, but like, this is not the way to raise honest, humble, and responsible children. Like, this is not it. This is not it. To anybody who ever watches this, that this is not the way to raise humble, and be it I only have one, and she's still a toddler. But like, I am 100% positive that I am correct in saying this is not the way to raise responsible children. Yes, it's difficult, but also so incredibly important to face this, to be aware what people have done to us by torture for dignity. Yeah, and I'm all for being a religious person, but hiding behind a religion to excuse your evil and horrendous behavior is what I feel like that Hildebrandt was doing by this, like, see God and the devil is with you and this and that. It's like that you're interpreting those things completely not the way they were supposed to be interpreted, or not the way a sane, normal, everyday person would interpret it. Like, ugh, hey, sticky widget, how are you? Yeah, abuse hiding behind religion. And it's one of the reasons that I'm convinced that people hate those overly religious, godly people. It's like, I'm like, when you throw your religion and people at people, like, it's okay to be religious. I just don't feel the need to like throw my religion around like I'm some sort of higher being or I'm better than anybody else because I'm religious. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, it makes me cringe when people hide behind their religion and they're shitty people. There was only one season of it, but back in the day, ABC had a show called GCB. It was called Good Christian Bitches. Because some people that go to church and work at a church are some of the most judgy people and some of the most non-God-fearing people in the world. So it's like, yeah. Yeah. And it was only on for one season. It didn't get renewed, but it was a closet addiction for me. Yeah, it's one of those shows that you watch, but you don't tell anybody else that you watched until now. Hildebrandt and Franke fraudulently advertised connection services by, among other things, omitting that Hildebrandt's methodology requires the torture and physical abuse to children to bring children into truth, and that the torture of 2 children was occurring in the room next door to Hildebrandt's Southern Utah residence, while Hildebrandt and Franke instructed people in their podcast to be honest and humble. The longevity of the enterprise and the number of victims demonstrate that defendants knew their actions were unlawful, vile, and dangerous. Ugh. Yep. I heard he's in Colorado now. After Hildebrandt and Franke's arrests, many individuals have publicly explained how the enterprise victimized them as well. These reports are strikingly similar to the torture Hildebrandt and Franke inflicted upon victims 1 and 2, and similarly, Savage's abuse of plaintiff and their minor daughter. Savage, we haven't heard her name in today's section of this, but if you didn't catch the previous 1 or 2 streams on this topic, Savage is the plaintiff's ex-wife. The enterprise has been continuously defrauding and abusing individuals for at least 15 years. Known victims of the enterprise include plaintiff Jesse Hildebrandt, Adam Steed, David Bateman, and Spencer Tibbetts. Jesse Hildebrandt. Upon information and belief shortly after Hildebrandt's arrest, Jesse Hildebrandt described to the media the extreme abuse and torture they endured as a minor child 15 years ago at the hands of Hildebrandt, which is strikingly... Okay, so she does have a child. I never knew that she actually had children of her own. That was possibly omitted because her child was a minor and was also being... Yeah. We'll get to why. Which is strikingly similar in nature to the torture victims 1 and 2. Upon information and belief, Hildebrandt abused and tortured Jesse, who is known to use they, them pronouns to bring them into truth. Oh, so you not only like I'm not a huge proponent of like they, them, but to each their own. Oh, hey General T and hey Sir Frank. General T, I hope your doctor's appointment goes well. Yeah, and it's always the people who are preaching be honest and humble are the most non-humble and non-honest people in my experience. It's like it's all the people that like are saying you're threat to democracy are really the true threat to democracy because they want to silence the people who don't agree with them. And see, like with the copyright strikes and stuff like that, and the Thunder Cows talking crap about me. It's one of those things of like, I don't particularly like them, but like, as long as they're not defaming me, whatever, you can have any opinion of me you like. I don't care. It's your First Amendment right. Like, I don't have to like what you talk about to admit that you have a right to talk about it. It's kind of like, I don't have to like your speech to be okay with the fact that you are able to say things. And I don't feel the need to go and like, I don't know how to describe it, but I don't feel the need to go and try to silence everybody who doesn't disagree with me. If you don't agree with me, it's like, okay, like have a good day. Like stay safe, be you. Have a good one. Bless your heart. Like, okay. But living in southern Utah, does this not strike you as something very Mia Bailey-esque? Mia Bailey is formerly Colin Bailey, who is accused of unaliving their parents and attempting to unalive their brother and his wife because they are transgender. Does this strike you as just something that just in southern Utah with that religion being a thing, being a problem? Yeah, all the best. Sticky with it. I don't know if you and I were talking back then, and I definitely know you weren't a subscriber of my channel back then, but when I worked at the gym, there was a kid that was leaving, graduated high school and was leaving, and the people were writing a going away card and signing, a going away card. And I signed it, all the best. Like, sorry. All the best. Free speech is not there to protect speech you like, but to protect speech you hate. Yeah, and that's the thing. If they want to censor speech you hate one day, it might be okay with you because it's speech you don't like. But at the same time, that could be the speech that you are talking about the next day. Like, Well, here is how I look at it. If the Thunder Cows talk about you, they're scared of you because you're talking truth and they're not. And that's the thing, is I'm not really talking anything. I'm reading legal documents. So I'm just reading what the lawyers are writing. So, yep. I always, my go-to, on Facebook, so I don't get like yeeted on a Facebook post, is, well, bless your little heart. I'll pray for your family because they have to deal with you. I don't. Bye. I was like, it's not that I'm gonna pray for you. I'm gonna pray for your family because they have to deal with your attitude and your personality, which is stunning. Told you I don't play well with others, right? And that's the thing. I tell people what I think when I think it, and I don't really hold back. I either don't say anything or I tell them exactly what I think. And it's like, if I tell them exactly what I think, they get mad at me. And if I don't tell them anything, I'm being mean and I'm not talking to them. So like, there's just this like no-win situation. So I just don't interact with people. I just don't. There's a reason that very few people ever come on this channel, and you don't see me on other people's channels because it's not that we don't get along. It's just like, I'm not in the cool kids club. Yeah, and there are people that say like bless your heart and it means, but it's context. It's kind of like F you in the sense of like you can be joking around with someone and be like, oh, you know, or it can be like a, you know, it's a verb. It's just it depending on the context means everything. But if you see someone just go, oh, bless your heart, just for no reason at all, and there's no context with it, it's a verbal middle finger. Upon information and belief, Hildebrandt's abuse and torture of Jesse included restraining them with duct tape, blindfolding them, isolating them for up to 12 hours per day, forcing them to sleep outside in the snow. Oh my God. Physically pushing them, telling Jesse that it was dangerous for them to speak with other people, telling Jesse that Hildebrandt would recruit agents who would report back if Jesse had broken any of Hildebrandt's rules, Hildebrandt falsely accusing Jesse of being addicted to smexy time, corn, and self-love. Hildebrandt not giving Jesse privacy, including in the bathroom, because Hildebrandt falsely alleged that Jesse would give themselves self-love. I just, like, the only person in this house who doesn't get privacy in the bathroom is me. Because the little one will beat down the door. Yeah, I don't do. There's people who I like. There's people who don't like me, but I'm like, you know what? There's people who I like as people. I just don't watch their stuff anymore because, and I'm one of those things. If you like there's people in here who go and watch the Thunder Cows and are regulars in the Thunder Cows. I don't care. That's a you thing. That's it. That's you. I cannot control, and I'm not going to not like you because you like them. Like, I am not that type of person who is going to go, well, you can't come in my chat because you talk to so-and-so or you stream. Ooh. Yeah. How about, uh-oh. Are you okay? She was laying under the chair and she kept kicking the chair and she knocked it over. Oh. Would you like me to pick it back up? Yes. Okay. Thank you. How about we don't kick the chair anymore and it won't fall over, okay? Okay? Yeah. So, it's one of those, like, yeah, anybody can come here, and there's only 2 people on this channel who are blocked. Maybe a third. I think I accidentally blocked Peculiar. I'm not sure. But I haven't seen that chick in a while. But I don't care. Like, I just do me, and like, if you like me, you like me. If you don't, I love you, but it's not, my content is not for everybody. So, hey, King Bob, how are you? It's just one of those, like, yeah, and this is a topic that I'm not talking about. Everybody is free to think what they want to think. I refuse to let myself be dragged into any of that drama. You can think what you want to think about either side of that drama. I am just refusing to let myself be, like, whenever that topic is brought up, I just don't pay attention. I don't respond. I don't react. I just listen. And I'm just, I'm just here. Because that's a thing where it's like, that's what you want to. It's one of those things of, like, when there's, like, make or break things, it's like, is that really the hill you want to die on? Leave me out of it. You can have your opinions. I have mine, but I will not express my opinions because they are none of anybody else's business except for me. So, y'all will never know what I think about certain situations, because it would mean that it would imply that I'm picking a side, and I'm not. If y'all want to go be on this side because you don't like what this side said, fine. If y'all want to be on this side because you don't like what this side said, fine. In certain situations, I don't like what anybody says, and that's why, like, in this whole What the Hell saga, it was like I didn't want to cover it at all at first, because it was like everybody sucks. Like, nobody's perfect in this situation. I think both sides handled it wrong. I thought it was 8, but could be wrong. Family blogging channels were just not for me. Like, I follow a couple people for Montessori content, but it's not like I follow them like religiously. I just need ideas for activities to do with her that are occupation based, that aren't technology based. And Montessori is a great way to, in my opinion, to learn how to raise a child that is independent, and has a good sense of Montessori. There was an Italian doctor, I think Maria Montessori, but she created this way of parenting and the school, like the school system, and way of learning where it's very child based. Like, you don't give someone a task expecting a certain thing. You watch them, you see what they're doing, and you create things around your child. Like, one of the reasons that I don't bug her when she's playing by herself is you can't learn to have a large attention span if someone never lets you work on it. So when she is playing by herself, I let her play by herself, and I watch her, and I see what she's doing, how she's playing with things. And it's like, if I'm constantly going, baby girl, baby girl, baby girl, baby girl, baby girl, what are you doing? She's never going to get the opportunity to work on her attention span, because I'm constantly interrupting her. So sometimes when she's just doing a task, if she looks at me, of course I interact with her. If she wants my opinion on something, or she comes to me and she's like, here, of course I look and I interact with her. But, like, I'm just not going to go, baby girl, hey, little one, what are you doing? What are you doing? Because think, if you're trying to read a book and someone's constantly interrupting you, you're never going to be able to read that book, because it's like you're never going to be able to focus on that book because someone is constantly interrupting you. So I know when she's in her zone, I just let her play. And if she looks at me or she wants my input or attention, I give it to her. But, like, she's never going to learn certain topics. I just remembered that it was an even number. So, but Montessori content is like the only, and Montessori is very in line with occupational therapy. It's work. Play is the work of the child. And it's like, yeah, playing is her job. Playing is how she learns to interact with other kids and her social skills. Playing is how she works on fine motor and gross motor skills. It's how she works on cognition, attention span, and I give her certain things, like I have, and Montessori stresses very, like, low technology and, like, natural materials, not a lot of plastics. Most of her stuff is wood, metal, glass, things like that. We don't use baby plates with her. She uses our plates. Like, we use a couple for, like, when we're having something messy. It's like, I want that suction cup to the table so that, it doesn't go flying. But, like, usually I just put her food on a adult plate. She uses open cups most of the time. It's like, I don't treat her like a little adult, but, like, I don't give her baby stuff. It's like, she has her own drawer where she can be autonomous and go get her, where she can go get her own snacks that she wants. She'll bring them to me to open. Like, I give her range of being independent. She helps me with dishes. She helps me with laundry. And it's like, it's not only helping with her cognition and fine motor and things like that, but it's also learning that self-care activities and activities of daily living are just, they're not chores. They're just how to be a responsible person. So no, it's not that. It's not that it's no coddling. It's just a, hey, this is not a, doing your laundry is not a chore. It's part of being alive. like as a person and as a responsible person, when we make a dirty dish, we have to either put it in the dishwasher or we have to wash it ourselves. Like, it's not, you can't rely on somebody else to clean up after you all the time. Like, it's, cleaning the house isn't a chore. It's part of being a responsible person. So I would not say that. She gets cuddled all the time. She gets cuddled all the time. It's just a, like, even down to coloring. Like, I don't give her a coloring book. I give her a blank piece of paper. Because if I give her a coloring book, it is restraining her into coloring inside the lines, even though she's 2 and she can't color inside the lines, even if she wanted to. But it's like, it's letting her use her own imagination and using the colors and or the shapes that she wants to make versus me restraining her imagination. So, my daughter once said as a little one, can you get me something from the shopping, but nothing out of wood? And hey, Spawn, how are you? And sorry, I didn't mean to like agitate you this morning, Spawn. It's just the aviation thing is just my bread and butter and like my area of expertise and Mr. Squid's area of expertise. And it's like, it's just, we got on we're reading the Jodi Hildebrandt and Ruby Franke lawsuit. And if you don't know who that is, they were accused in August of 2023 of horrific child abuse. This is a new lawsuit. Okay, just as long as we're on the same page. This is a horrific lawsuit about the company that Jodi Hildebrandt ran. And we just got on the subject of parenting and how to raise or possibly raise a responsible adult. Because this, like, I'm no parenting expert, but like, this is not how you raise a parent. Getting back to the lawsuit, now that we've done like a 5-minute sidebar. Upon information and belief, on one occasion after an instance in which Jesse attempted to escape, Hildebrandt pulled Jesse out of bed by the hair, blindfolded them, tied their wrists and legs, and started driving. After arriving at an unknown location, Hildebrandt began screaming at Jesse and accusing them of manipulating other people to think that something was wrong. Sounds like something is wrong, or was wrong. Upon information and belief, after this incident, Hildebrandt drove her vehicle into a mountain with Jesse on the floor of the vehicle and coerced Jesse to run up and down the mountain for 6 hours. Upon information and belief, Hildebrandt placed individuals at the bottom of the mountain to surveil Jesse to ensure they did not escape. Upon information and belief, typically during the day, Hildebrandt would take Jesse to work with her and require Jesse to stay isolated in a small closet the entire day. God, then this person's trying to give someone parenting advice. Oh my God. They did not get long enough sentences. And I hope this lawsuit exposes this whole situation. Upon information and belief, on one such occasion, Jesse had an opportunity to escape. Jesse did so and sought protection for a time at a homeless shelter. Yeah, this right here. Yeah. Upon information and belief, Hildebrandt did not report Jesse as a missing child or make any other attempt to locate her minor family member. Jesse's experience is highly similar to victim 1 and 2. Adam Steed. Upon information and belief, Adam Steed is a victim of the enterprise. Hildebrandt was professionally disciplined in 2012 for abuse she inflicted on Steed, her former partner. Oh, here we go. This is the questions that I had about her license. So I'm glad the lawsuit answers it. In 2012, Hildebrandt was professionally disciplined by the Utah Division of Professional Licensing for unlawfully disclosing information about a patient. And this is why this, in my opinion, is one of the reasons that she addressed her or advertised herself as a licensed therapist, but did not do any work with actual patients in a clinical setting. It's yeah. The individual was identified as John Doe in DOPL documents. Upon information and belief, Steed identified himself as the individual who reported Hildebrandt's professional misconduct. Upon information and belief, NBC News confirmed Steed's disclosure by reviewing a DOPL complaint naming Steed, reviewing therapy notes from Steed's sessions with Hildebrandt, and reviewing other documents relevant to the professional misconduct. Upon information and belief, Steed and his now ex-wife saw Hildebrandt for counseling services through ConneXions for 9 months in 2008. Steed's experience is yet another example of the enterprise's fraudulent and unlawful scheme involving the provision of fraudulent services through ConneXions. Steed said, "We came there for marriage counseling as she pulled us into her marathon." Upon information and belief, instead of providing legitimate counseling services, Hildebrandt immediately diagnosed Steed with a smexy time and that addiction, even after Steed stated he did not have issues with either. Upon information and belief, Hildebrandt also insisted that the Steeds needed to triple down on the amount of therapy sessions they were purchasing through ConneXions for the financial gain of the enterprise. Jodi Hildebrandt and Ruby Franke were convicted in 2023 of abusing Hildebrandt or two of Ruby Franke's minor children. One was 10 and one was 12 or 13. The older one, the boy, escaped to a neighbor's house. Yeah, and they only got 15 years. This is a civil lawsuit against ConneXions, which is Jodi Hildebrandt's business. Basically, it's a cult. It's a cult. It reminds me of Scientology, where if you're not with them, you're distorted. You're in a sense of distortion. Yeah, they took plea deals. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. Really, really sucks. Upon information and belief, Steed indicated Hildebrandt's charges were as high as $2,000 a month. Upon information and belief, after Steed refused, Hildebrandt provided false accounts of Steed's confidential counseling information without his permission to leaders in his church, to honor code officials at the university he was attending, and 2 other therapists. Hildebrandt's actions towards Steed were typical of the enterprise's strategy to keep individuals within the enterprise. Hildebrandt and other members of the enterprise would coordinate with a victim's spouse, often also a member of the enterprise, to disseminate false allegations and information about a victim's mental health diagnosis to embarrass, harass, and subsequently coerce victims to stay with the enterprise for fear of facing additional public shaming. Sounds like there's some defamation lawsuits in there too. Yeah, yeah, Scientology says it all. It's not Scientology, but it has those same, you pay money to become enlightened. You have workbooks and things to do. And if anybody is not with you, you must disassociate yourself with them. It has all the hallmarks of a cult. As described by Steed, when I chose to leave this cult-like group, Jodi tried to punish me, and she worked through Steed's University Honor Code office and legal measures to try to hurt me. And I have the emails between my ex-wife and Hildebrandt planning out all this stuff, talking about what the real issues in our marriage were and them evolving into something drastically different with the allegations that would totally destroy a life. I had to come forward because when I heard they were doing the same thing to those little kids that they did to me to hide their crimes, it was totally predictable. Upon information and belief, when Steed refused to continue paying Hildebrandt's exorbitant service fees through ConneXions for the benefit of the enterprise and to treat non-existent mental health issues, Hildebrandt conspired with Steed's now ex-wife to falsely accuse him of... I'm not even going to say this out loud because there's just being a child rapist to their own child. Upon information and belief, Hildebrandt instructed Steed's ex-wife to send an email with a list of demands of what Steve had to do to avoid divorce, which included remaining in the enterprise, paying the enterprises thousands of dollars per month for fraudulent, unnecessary services, and require that Steed could not see other therapists. Ho! Yes, because if he sees other therapists, they're going to be like, this bitch is crazy. You do not have this. You are paying for stuff you don't need. You are paying for treatment you don't need. Yeah, this goes all the way back to like 2008. But the allegations of child abuse were discovered in 2023. Upon information and belief, as a result of Hildebrandt's false claims to these organizations, his ex-wife, Steed lost church privileges, was temporarily suspended from his university, and suffered a divorce. And Cynthia Miller, thank you for the $4.99 super sticker. It is very, very much appreciated. Steed stated, "My family got destroyed. My life got destroyed." Upon information and belief, Hildebrandt also attempted to restrict Steed's access to his children. See, and I like how this is, okay, this is a very difficult topic to cover. However, this is a very well-written document, in my opinion. It's easy for me to read. And if I'm not having any issues reading it, the judge is really not having any issues reading it, because we're stopping and talking about things, but we're talking about the content and the disturbing nature of the content, not the sentence structure or the paragraph structure, the formatting. It's very like, here's the facts. Here are the facts. These are not my opinions. These are facts. Steve reported, Hildebrandt admitted, they're facts. And it's a very factual basis for, like, it's so easy to read. That I can't, like, we're stopping and talking about it, but we're stopping and talking about how ridiculous the allegations are, and how people fell for this in the first place, and not the way it's written, like we talk about in another topic, where we look at the documents and we're like, why would you put that in a legal filing? Why would you put that? And of course, this is just an initial complaint, so there is no case law. They're just stating the facts of why they brought this suit and why they think it should move forward. Upon information and belief, Hildebrandt also attempted to restrict Steed's access to his children. Steed reported that once Hildebrandt began meeting with his now ex-wife, Hildebrandt made her falsely believe that she needed to protect the children from him. In her stipulation with DOPL, Hildebrandt admitted that her disclosure of Adam Steed's confidential information was detrimental to Adam Steve and not in his best interests. You think? Oh. Hey, Peachy, how are you this morning? Hildebrandt also admitted that her conduct was unprofessional and defined by Utah law and violated her ethical responsibility. I don't think this woman would know ethics if it slapped her in the face in Minecraft. And if you hear the little talking, she has a Build-A-Bear that we got on vacation, and it's her. She took the phone from the Build-A-Bear, and she walks around talking on the phone. So if you hear her, it's because she's got the phone up to her ear, like, you know, I'm busy. She's a boss baby. She's got business to do. Among other professional sanctions, Hildebrandt stipulated to having her license placed on probation for 18 months for her ethical violations relating to Steed. And the downside to having her license placed on probation is, I think, and in my mind, I could be wrong, but when you're not practicing professionally as much because your license is on probation, that is when you move to life coaching. How life coaching doesn't necessarily require an active or a full standing professional license. And in life coaching, anybody could call themselves anything and do anything they want because they are not bound to an ethical or professional licensing board. So that's just my opinion. Like, I'm keeping my C and my COTA just in case I ever go back to work in that field. But I am not, actively working because I don't like the hospital system anymore. I don't like the medical industrial complex, but that's a whole nother rant that we don't have time for. Dave Bateman. Upon information and belief, Dave Bateman is another victim of the enterprise. Upon information and belief, in 2019, Bateman sued Hildebrandt in excess of $300,000 in damages. See second amended complaint and jury demand Bateman v. Hildebrandt, Utah 4th District, case number that hereinafter Bateman complaint. I don't know if people know this, but because of Trump's freeze of all medical research through NIH, $150 vaccine research on autoimmune diseases just got canceled. I'm sure that would I'm sure things will be sorted out and it will not be frozen for long. It's just when the NIH gives money to cut the brainstem of cats and walk them on a treadmill in Russia, I believe that we need to go pause. Is this legit or is it not? But that will be saved for another time. I did talk about the cats on treadmills. Research or lack thereof in which I believe PETA, if it was in the US, PETA should have got involved. But the NIH spends a lot of money on, if you look at usaspending.gov, the NIH spends a lot of money on stuff where it makes you go, huh? And I believe the NIH should be doing stuff like researching autoimmune diseases and not spending money to snip the brainstem and force cats to walk on treadmills in Russia. Just a thought. just a random thought that I have. So I'm sure it will not be like that for very long. So, hey, Shanigram. I've been trying to get Captain his all devices, and it's just him. I missed everything forever. I am doing all right. This is a hard topic to read. This will be the last victim that we'll read, and then we'll come back next week. Because this is only a once a week topic, because this topic is too depressing to read every week or every day. And too big. We are on page 33 of 146. And the complaint itself is 112 pages. So, yeah, that's that. There's that too. So I don't think we need to spend millions of dollars to torture animals. So, yeah, and I'm sure the good things that the NIH is doing will be sorted out and be like, okay, that's legit. You can have your money. Like, that's what I believe will be happening. But it's like, you're not legit. You either become legit or you get no money. So, upon information and belief, Bateman was CEO and the majority shareholder of a large software company in Utah. Upon information and belief, Bateman and his now ex-wife, do you see a pattern here? Ex-wife, sought marriage counseling through Hildebrandt. Upon information and belief, unsurprisingly, after Bateman realized that Hildebrandt was not assisting the marriage, he ended counseling with Hildebrandt and divorce proceedings followed shortly thereafter. As what happened with Steed and plaintiff, Hildebrandt attempted to destroy Bateman's life because he would not accept the enterprise and Hildebrandt's methodology. I hate this story too. Like, I just, but it needs to, more people need to know about this, and I feel like more people need to see these red flags when you look at counseling and when you choose services and to pay for certain things. Like, investigate thyself. Upon information and belief, the conspiracies between Hildebrandt and Bateman's ex-wife include Hildebrandt assisting Bateman's ex-wife to fabricate false and defamatory claims against Bateman in divorce proceedings. Hildebrandt instructing the ex-wife to falsely allege to the court that Bateman was abusive to their children in order to gain advantage in custody proceedings. There's another theme. Blaming the projection, blaming a man for, and this to me is like, this to me is like making how to make your man a beta in 3, 2, 1. Like, it's just like, and this is all entangled in 2019 with that Me Too movement of, like, this is all entangled with the believe all women situation. I have to look to see if the timelines match up, but it kind of is a thing. Hildebrandt instructing the ex-wife to file a false report of child abuse with law enforcement, and Hildebrandt herself falsely reporting Bateman to authorities for abuse. Upon information and belief, Hildebrandt's behavior towards Bateman was criminal under Utah Code Section 76-9-404, 76-8-506, and 76-4-201. Upon information and belief, Hildebrandt also met with Bateman business partners to strategize how to take control of Bateman's company. Oh, that is low. Like, there are some low things, but like involving people who aren't even in the family. Okay, it's wrong, but one thing to conspire with his ex-wife or make saying men did stuff to them and children in divorce proceedings happens way more than it should, and it's wrong. But it's all within the family. When you start involving people like business partners and you affect their bottom line and how they make money, there's like a whole other, like, it goes to a whole other level of what the hell. Upon information and belief in these meetings, Hildebrandt unlawfully disclosed confidential information regarding Bateman, tracking Hildebrandt's pattern of previous ethical violations, including those with Steed. What I'm hoping for is, I'm not expecting, but I'm hoping for is this. Hildebrandt's behavior towards Bateman was criminal. I'm hoping that the judge will refer this to the back to the state and the county attorney to look into that, just like they are with Laura Owens. Upon information and belief in these meetings, Hildebrandt unlawful disclosures caused significant legal issues for Bateman in addition to his divorce. Oof. As occurred with plaintiff and nearly every father who has spoken publicly about his experience with Hildebrandt, Hildebrandt worked out to cut Bateman off Bateman from his children. Angel. She has the straw from a cup that she figured out that if she blows into it, it whistles. So if you hear any annoying whistle, it's because it's her. That's my 2-year-old's version of a recorder. If you know, you know. And it's this. So she blows in one end and it whistles. Thanks. I also have a different video. Mr. Squid found a different video of the crash where you can clearly see certain things a little better than that TMZ video. It's separating. We have a problem in this country of fathers not being present enough. So now you're forcefully separating children from their fathers because you want money and power and influence in their lives. It's so bad. Upon information and belief at one point, due to Hildebrandt's unlawful actions, Bateman was completely cut off from his children for 3 weeks. Yeah, it's the 2-year-old's version of a recorder. It's bad. Y'all are hilarious. No, and no. Not even going to try that. All right. This is where we've actually made it quite far in 2.5 hours, but this is where I bid you adieu. I have to make phone calls because I have to do some stuff for the house. So thank you for joining me in all my my sidebars and rants and wading through a very difficult story to try to get to the bottom of some of this stuff. We are going to hey Connor, how are you? Welcome to my channel. I'm just here doing my thing, talking about a really difficult, that Ruby Franke stuff. I hate it, but it needs to be read through. And I hope you have a really good day. Let's see if anybody is live that I can redirect you to. Now that when I don't do that, it's either because I gotta go quick, like yesterday, or I just forget. But we don't like to see you go. Ooh, Georgia Bulldogs is live. Let's see. Mo in the Deep End. And I'm sorry, if y'all could handle this case, Mo in the Deep End is doing Tennessee versus Megan Boswell, the petty version. Bo is my petty sister from another mister who lives in the pettyverse like me. And she takes a very difficult situation and makes it tolerable. Oh, Valhalla's live too. Everybody is live. We're not playing with this. No. She took this is my childhood pet. If you know what I mean. No. Oh, and Connor, your dad meant a lot to me. He helped me when I had no subscribers. He was on my channel for a charity stream. Come here, baby. He was on my channel for a charity stream for Hurricane Debbie when I had like 300 subscribers. He was awesome and was always there when I needed someone to help. But we're headed over to Mo since now I can no longer use my mic. Y'all have a great day. I love you guys. Bye. You want to say bye? You want to say bye? Say bye-bye. Say see you. Bye. There we go.